Hello, and welcome to the Insight Studio, a place Cumberland Crest House has gathered to celebrate our community, and you are our community. And so, bringing you into this space, we welcome you and your insights and what you're curious about. We want to be able to share our knowledge as well as learn from you in your knowledge. And today's topic is specific to structural integration or Rolfing work, as it's been termed. So just a little bit of history. I've been doing the structural integration work for about 28 years now. And it's been a beautiful way to expand my world in different moments of transition. So, whenever there was a big change or there was a move or some kind of big shift in my life, using the structural integration techniques, going to a practitioner and getting work done was just a beautiful way to sort of catapult that into my my journey. And the way that it started for me was with my 20s. I actually had a lot of like mental awarenesses that were like, why do I think this way? Why do I believe this way? Where is this coming from? And oh, my mom and dad thought this way or believe this way. And do I want to keep believing this way? So I started to rearrange my thought process. And I found that as I was changing my mind, that my body was really sluggish and kind of slow to the change. So I mentioned this to a gal who was in Henderson at the time, and Henderson, Nevada, and she said, "Sounds to me like you need Rolfing." And I said, "I don't know what that is, but sign me up." So I called, and the gentleman who answered was apprenticeshipping with the Rolfer that I was attempting to reach out to. And we ended up talking for a long time. To make a long story short, he became my husband and the father of my child. And so I became very aware of structural integration and this whole world of body work from that incredible opening experience. And then, as some of you know, he passed, and that was also another opportunity for me to use the work as a way to process my grief or as a way to work with relationships inside of myself, or as a way to just kind of catapult me into a new career, a new life without him. And so it's been a beautiful tool for me throughout the years, and I've enjoyed being able to share it with clients as well and see the changes that have happened in them. So, what is structural integration? Structural integration was developed by Ida Rolf, and she called it structural integration, meaning that you're taking your structure and you're integrating it in such a way that it is more balanced within gravity. And she saw gravity similar to the way that a fish would water. The water is just there. It's there, and the fish is swimming around in it, right? And here we are, just moving around in gravity. And sometimes it feels like it's working with us, and other times it feels like it's not. And so when gravity is in a balanced place within our bodies, like it's putting just the right amount of pressure wherever we need to be held or supported, it's comforting, right? And the moment we have an injury or an impact in our bodies that can distort the way that we hold ourselves, then that pressure from gravity can actually feel more compounding or more contracting for our ability to move around in this body. So Ida Rolf developed a 10-session series that basically works on different layers of the body in order to make it kind of like from an onion into a bloomin' onion. So you have spaces in between all the different fascial layers of the body. And in that kind of space, what would happen was this beautiful kind of lift of the body that then in gravity became something that was like easier to navigate. You're like, oh, if I'm on this line, we call it, right, this center point of the body, then we're able to kind of function in this field that we're in a little bit easier. So I just want to invite you to take a second, a minute or two, maybe even, and just breathe with me and tune into what feels contracted in your body right now. Like what is tight in your body? If you just kind of scan through your body and just notice, and if you want to put it in the chat, what kind of place on your body is saying, hey, pay attention to me. It's a little bit tight over here. What do you notice? Yeah, okay. A slight headache in the front, on the left side. Okay. All right. Some tension, lower spine, the lower spine. Right. Okay. So just taking a moment to notice that, those areas of your body, and just breathe into them for just a moment. And just invite some expansion through the breath. And it's as if the breath is opening the body in those places and allowing the body to just rest with the support of the air from the diaphragm dropping down and the lungs filling. And just notice those places that are tense. And as you notice these places, just allow ease to come into your body. Yeah. And we're just noticing right now places in our body that need attention, places that are tense or holding, and putting it into the chat. We're focusing on that. Okay. So how did that feel to just be present with the tension? What did you notice? Just see if you notice any changes there. A sort of pulsing energy that felt supportive. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. So when we bring our mind's attention to different parts of our bodies, we're following a continuum within the system of fascia. So Ida Rolf developed this work saying that structure determines the function, right? And so however you are using your body or holding your body is going to determine how it's going to continue to be used and moved throughout your life. So to the flip side of that, Feldenkrais would say, no, function determines the structure. So however you're using your body is going to determine how it's going to hold and how it's going to, kind of form itself. Really, they're both right. So understanding that it is kind of how you're moving your body is going to make certain holding patterns, if you will, and also just how you were developed structurally or how you have held yourself is going to impact the structure in a way that can be limiting or can be free. So the fascial tissue is considered the main medium that we work with structural integration, right? And essentially what we're wanting to do is consider that the whites of our eyes are the same dural tissue that surrounds our brain, right? That surrounds the spinal cord, that surrounds all the peripheral nerves, that becomes superficial and deep fascia throughout the body. So literally, your brain has extended through this web network of your entire body, and that is also your brain inside of your body, right? So when you direct your awareness, yeah, that is really cool to learn. When you direct your mind's attention to a part of your body, you're following that network, you're following that fascial system that says, oh, it's over there. And you're making it have more energetic awareness, right? You're like, oh, this exists. I didn't know. And now I know. I'm putting my attention to it. So I'm aware that it's there. So, all right. Interesting that in Stephanie, the tension resides in your left hip today. Yeah. Okay, so we might want to work with that a little bit today, Stephanie, and just be able to move into breathing into loving that part of you that's there. We'll work with that some as well. Okay, so understanding fascia and its role, it's kind of like a big wetsuit, right? Or even like a sweater. Like if you're pulling on a sweater, you're like, oh, well, this is you're feeling it over here, but it's probably, coming from the pull over here. So recognizing that your body is one continuum of this lovely fascial tissue, that literally by stretching or pulling one part is absolutely affecting everything else, right? So there is zero separation. It's all connected as one continuous unit, if you will, or one continuous thread that is woven together to create you and your physical body. So I want to go back a little bit, knowing that some of the network of the fascial development with respects to our birth or even the development of ourselves in utero. And it's interesting to note that if the mother has a rotation in her pelvis or in her uterus, that the baby that's developing inside of that environment can also have a little bit of a rotation just by way of the development of the container that she's in or he's in inside of the womb, which I found really fascinating. And so there's that, and then the impact as well of the fascial continuum of the mother and everything that she's experiencing while developing the baby is going to be imprinted on, if you will, or put into the makeup of the recipe that created you. And so all of those experiences within her fascial network become part of your fascial network just by way of developmental proxy. And so understanding that the patterns that we hold or we carry in our bodies aren't necessarily something that we can kind of identify as, oh, this is where that came from, right? Because it could be that it came from where you didn't know it came from. Could be that it came from a very much more early on space of your development. So just considering how the brain is the body in that fascial web network and how you were created within your mother's fascial network, and how all of that would have impacted your development, and then your birth story and the instances and every experience that you've had from birth and even in utero, every experience you have had is inside of your fascial tissue, is inside of your bodies. It's so intelligent. It's like this beautiful storage for every experience that you've had. So your mind can continue to go and think and do and all the things that your cognitive development can do, but the brain is saying, okay, but then I'm the record keeper. I'm going to keep track of it all. I'm going to make sure that we remember everything along the way. And so there are some experiences that we have that have more emotional punch or impact than others. Have either one of you experienced how your emotions hold in your body? Yeah, yeah. Yes, definitely. So take a minute now and just tune into, let's see, let's tune into the emotion of joy, right? The feeling of joy. And I just want you to notice, what does joy feel like in your body? Where do you feel joy in your body? If you just put your hand on your body, if you need to kind of put your presence there, and just notice, where in your body do you feel joy? I feel joy in the back of my upper back. I feel it as if there's the wings are back there. I'm like the little, like my wings are back there. That's my joy. If I can feel that back there. What about you? Where do you feel your joy? Okay, I would say the core of my body, the kind of mantle of my shoulders and upper arms. Oh, my feet and my abdomen. Okay, we have the full body experience going on between us today. That's great. Joy all around. It's wonderful. That's great. Okay. So just noticing that those emotions can be felt in the body, and that's actually where those senses are most alive for us to experience them. You can think it, but to really experience it is to tune it into the senses through the fascial network, through the body brain, if you will, to just embrace what it's like to experience the emotion of joy, right? To just experience those feelings. Yeah. So when we don't want to be experiencing an emotion, when we don't want to be experiencing it, what do you think happens with the fascial tissue in that instance? It tightens up. Yeah, yeah. Ah, loses mobility. Yes. Yes. It's the Tin Man without the oil. It starts to make noises and creaks around and says, "Hey, I'm not able to move forward like I used to." Yeah. And so just noticing that when we don't let ourselves feel the feelings, then we hold on to it, right? We kind of cap it somewhere. We have to store it somewhere. And so it's often that when I'm working on someone that they'll be having little flashbacks, little like, oh, I remember this happened and that happened. And it's not even that it happened to that particular part of the body, but for some reason, that part of the body that I happen to be working on might be triggering that particular memory. Yeah. Have any of you experienced that when you've had a session before? We're just, yeah, just different thoughts come up to your mind and you kind of go, oh, that's curious. Yeah. So it's an opportunity then for the body to let go, right? Within the framework of body work and being able to just kind of free it up, right? Kind of open up those doorways for it to flutter on out, if you will, those feelings that we didn't let ourselves feel that we stored instead, right? Cool. All right. So, okay. I'd like to go through what the 10 session series looks like. And essentially, within the 10 sessions, right, the idea is that we're working kind of from the outside of the body, working our way in to the core of the body. And The first 3 sessions are similar to this kind of, we call it the sleeve, the sleeve of the body, the big musculature, right? And we're wanting to get this big musculature that's been acting all tough and armoring up for our world. We want to just allow that to rest for a minute. And a lot of these sessions in particular will help to give the body reprieve from some of the aches and pains that we experience in our daily life. Like these are like the surface tensions, right? Between these sessions, we're able to just sort of put those to rest. So session 1 is focused on the breath and just noticing how the breath is moving throughout the body, places where the breath needs to move throughout the body, and how we can help it get there, right? So we get this beautiful lift going on in the body, and it looks a little bit like an upward tonation in the front of the body. But then in comparison, it seems that the back is a little bit shorter, right? Because there's this great lift in the front. And so the next session is number 2. It's all from the knees down, but it's designed to get the back down, right? So as the back comes down by way of the calves and the feet and the ankles, then there's space, right? Now, okay, now the front and back have kind of found balance between the two, but the sides feel short. And so session 3 comes along and says, oh, we need to open up the sides of the body, right? So we get a nice lift into the sides of the body. Ah, now it's like you're wearing baggy clothes. You're like, oh, there's a lot of room in here, all the way around. I can move. This is great. Then, because we have opened up this outer package, if you will, the inner is available to us. So 4, 5, 6, and 7 of the 10 series are considered core of these sessions. So number 4 works through the adductors and allows the floor of the pelvis to open, which then shoots the spine up. So I think of the floor of the pelvis as like when you have those big grain barrels that they put the grain in at the top and then they open the bottom and the grain comes down, right? And they fill up the trucks along the way, right? So it's that kind of for the pelvic floor. You're just opening the pelvic floor and allowing things to let go out of the pelvis the way that they needed to some time ago, but maybe didn't. When you let go, the interesting part about that is that people are afraid that if they let go, that they're going to fall. But when you let go, you actually fly. And that's what happens to the spine in number 4. So the bottom of the pelvis lets go and the spine goes, thank you. Now I can lift like I'm supposed to. And then session 5 goes into the psoas, which is the front of the pelvis, and opens the support system of the psoas. The psoas, there was some notion of it being a hip flexor. So like whenever you bent your knee, you'd feel the psoas fire. But really think of it more as, I think of it more anyway, as a spinal support. So if you were to have like a barn that you're raising a barn, you have the walls, and before you have the walls that can support each other, you have one wall up and you have a little lean-to, right? And so that to me is the psoas to the spine, right? It's got this little lean-to because it connects to the third, fourth, fifth vertebrae, lumbar vertebrae of your lower back, and comes around to the front of the pelvis. So it's this support to the spine. So when it gets short, it will pull your spine down. As it lengthens, it lifts your spine up even further from the inside. So that's the lovely psoas of session 5. Session 6 is all about the sacrum and getting that front lift that we got again to be matched with the back dropping down. And in the sacrum, it's also kind of, clearing out the hamstrings that are sometimes really active in our culture with all the sitting that we do, and getting some space in there. So at this point now, the pelvis is very sound and it's just this beautiful foundation. And the next session, number 7, is all about from your diaphragm up. And we call it putting the cap on. So we're putting the head on over the shoulders, over the diaphragm, over this beautiful pelvis that's really organized now. And after session 7, it's kind of like if you had one big, material that you had on and you just took it off, you're like, oh, I can see from this vantage point now. I'm really tall and I'm looking at life from this perspective. And it can be a little bit like, I don't know how to function this high. I've had some people who literally it feels like their head is on the ceiling. They're like, whoa. And I'm like, maybe let's just kind of get you in your body down a little bit before you go drive a car. So, so 8, 9, and 10 are considered like integrative sessions. It's kind of like as you're as high and as expanded as you're going to get in 1 through 7, and then how you function with that. How do you sit? How do you function when you're driving? How do you function when you're standing, when you're walking? How do you integrate the changes into a practical way throughout your life? And that's where 8, 9, and 10 come in. So 8 and 9, one is all upper, one is all lower. There's no new anatomy that's covered per se at that point. We're just reinstating to this new layer of your tissue that's available to us. We're reinstating what we did in sessions 1 through 7. And then number 10 is a little bit of everywhere, kind of focused on the joints of the body. So as your body begins to settle, it's we want to make sure the joints have space so that they don't get collapsed into. Right. And that's 10. Now, what you might not know is that Ida Rolf said that there's actually 3 more, but they don't involve a practitioner. And this would be session 11 would be time, 12 is space, 13 is gravity. Time, space, and gravity. Those are the next 3 things that you will automatically be put into, if you will, through this healing process. This journey is going to then say, okay, now you have time with this body being open and expanded in this new way. What does that feel like for you? How do you work within the spaces around you? How are you aware of space around you and within you? These spaces, how do you keep them open while you're integrating with this new way of being? And noticing how friendly gravity is at this point and being aware of this space of gravity that you are contained in. So yeah, that's kind of a fun little thing to consider in the expansion. Yeah. And I've seen images rather, of people who have gone through a 10 series and then in the next 6 months, all they did was yoga, for example. And they looked better after 6 months of yoga than they did after session 10. Like it was just, they continued, right? So there's a continuing journey of this kind of work that it's not just limited to these sessions and that's it. Like it's going to continue beyond our time together, which is kind of cool. I like that. So any questions about that so far, or points of interest that you thought were interesting that nothing you had heard of before? It's all okay. So what happens after a 10 series? Within what we call like a tune-up, within 3 months, I would say would be a good time period, 3 to 6 months for people to just really let their bodies do whatever it is that they naturally want to do. So it's not about reorganizing so much at that point. And then if they want more of that kind of this kind of work, specifically the structural integration work, then it can be done, within the 3 to 6 month period where you could even do another 10 series. You can get little tune-ups along the way. I personally offer them to people if they feel like as they're unwinding, things are continuing to unfold, that they get stuck or something along the way. Happy to be of assistance to keep things moving in the right direction for the client. And then noting that when there's, I want to say like bigger issues or just maybe more compounded issues of significant scar tissue or from injuries or surgeries, or where there's been like a scoliosis pattern that's been there since childhood. Some of these patterns, they can absolutely be affected by this type of work. And it just also might be like more of this work might be wanted. Whereas I have some people that literally I've done 110 series on and I've never seen them again. They're like, all right, I'm good. So everybody is different in terms of what to do after the 10 series is complete. So, great. So I want to offer either any of you here that if you would like to have a little moment on camera and kind of say whatever it is that you would like to say about structural integration, what your experience has been with it, that would be useful for others to hear if you're interested.
I can share.
Okay.
Okay. I was kind of thinking of 3 different things. So I've done the 10 series 3 times. I've done it twice with you and once with another therapist or person. Um, yeah, I was kind of thinking about like what I notice in the individual sessions, what I notice kind of like as time progresses, and then what I notice overall. I think um, it helps someone when they're shifting their energy and their mind, or like outside of themselves if they're trying to shift their world they're creating or the life around them. And it can kind of like if those things are shifting and the body is just kind of not really keeping up on the same page, it can help your body catch up with those shifts. And that kind of goes along with what you were saying, that it, and then like the journey continues after the sessions as well. So as you continue your shifts, your body can kind of keep up with you better when you're shifting your mind and your world and your life. And then
Yes.
um, also I think it helps with emotional processing, that like you've got emotional processing and it gets stored partially in the body, and that can like get released. So then, the things that were stored and kind of bothering you physically get cleared, which is also very nice. Yeah. And
Yes, a
then,
beautiful tie-in between the emotions and the body, right? Being able to not fix, we can be able to heal or feel those emotions, and the body goes, oh, good, now I don't have to hold on to this. Like it's a beautiful mirroring example for that to let go too. That's
yeah.
beautiful.
And I think that kind of goes along with what you shared, your experience of receiving and expressing from what you went through. And then I
Yes.
was also thinking physically, um, just the best way I can describe it is that I feel like there's more room in my body, more space. And it's like I have more room to be me in my body, which sounds so weird because it's like nothing else makes you feel like that. But yeah, it's like you get bigger on the inside and more comfortable.
I love that. You get bigger on the inside. In the beginning of my practice, I often thought that I was creating space in a body for more of your presence to come in to the body, right? And then it evolved to where I was like, wait, no, we're creating space so more of you can come out. You're already in here. You already exist in here. So we're just freeing that up. So yes, that's beautiful. I love that. More space on the inside, whether it's coming in or out, just keep it all moving, I guess, right? It's kind of fun. All right. Anyone else?
I can share.
All right.
Okay, my journey with working with structural integration has been long, with the damages that I had early on that before I knew about it. And I hadn't done the 10 series with anybody until I did it with you. And that definitely, as you said, it opened up a lot of the space for things to be more mobile and more connective and have more conversations, if you will, between them to help build a stronger structure. And it's definitely through our continued sessions, continued to help build, because the focus goes to where it needs to go at the time. But it's just been wonderful that way. And then other areas that it's opened up is it's opened up a lot of the protectors or issues or whatever that have been harboring maybe some of the dilemmas that my body has experienced beyond just the damages that the body wants to hold on to. So, yeah, it's been very awakening and very helpful in my growth of releasing everything.
That's beautiful. Yeah, it is. It's such a beautiful opportunity to know yourself, right? Just to have that kind of, oh, I do recall when I first received my first 10 series when I was 20, and I was like, oh, here's my body. Like I didn't really know. I didn't know where it was, you know? So it was such a beautiful proprioceptive engagement with my mind connected to my body and being aware of it in a whole different way. Um, and it was funny. I worked on a client who was in her 80s, and she said, oh, I wonder what my life would have been like if I'd gotten this when I was 60.
If I'd have gotten it when I was 20.
Exactly. And I said to her, I go, that's amazing. Like it would have been, you know, I'm sure, but you've got it in the right time that you needed it. And then that same week I was working on this gentleman who was in his mid 20s, like 26. And he says, oh, I wonder what would my life have been like if I had gotten this when I was 20 or 15, you know?
I might be able to respond to that. 'Cause
Yes.
I did it in my teens and then my 20s and then my 30s, and life just keeps getting better.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that.
Every time I do it, it's like I'm in a different place, so what I get from it is also different. And yeah, like I think probably um it felt like I shifted more when I was in my teens, but I also think now in hindsight that I had less awareness. It just seemed bigger because I was aware of less. And now, like the last time I did it in my 30s, is like I noticed things much more subtly. So the shifts may not have been like as massive, but they were more meaningful and just kind of like refining who I am and fully expressing who I am in this lifetime. And it just kind of like opens that up more creatively.
That's beautiful. I love that. I love the snippets of time and the, you know, the reflections of those different time periods for sure. Yeah. Did you want to say something, Stephanie?
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's so interesting. When my first 10 series, like I said, was, you know, here's your body, Michelle. I didn't know you had one. Now you do. And then in a relatively short period of time, because I was going also then into my own healing journey and being educated at the same time. So I received several 10 series within, I mean, probably within 3 years. I mean, a short period of time. And I got to a place where I literally, I would like the next one was like, oh, I can feel my psoas like as I'm moving. And I'm like, what is going on here? And then like the next 10 series, I was like, I think I can feel my lymphatic system moving. Like, you know, like it was just, it got so subtle for me. And then it became an intentional thing. Like it was, I wanted to do a 10 series specific to relationships. What is it like to work with relationships inside of myself, or my relationship to gravity, or my relationship to others, or my relationship to inanimate objects? Like I just was curious about how I was relating, and I used the 10 series as a medium for that exploration as well. Like, so it was very intention driven. And the funny part about that is really after we got through session 3, I get a call from my father who says, hey, I'm going to come into town and I want you to do a 10 series for me. And I was like, oh boy, talk about working on my relationship stuff. Like while I'm working on my relationship stuff. in my body to actually work with him. So I did, and I was very grateful for that opportunity for both of us to heal our relationship while I was healing my relationships. So anyway, be careful what you wish for, I guess is my, but no, it was great. So thank you for that. I just want to, I want to consider gravity. So I want to just take a moment here, and I'm gonna let me know if the audio, let's see, actually this one, let me put this one on. All right, you can hear that okay? All right. So I'd like for you to go with me on a little journey. And if you would just make sure that there's no other distractions so you can really just dive into this experience. And I just want to consider gravity. This is the focus of this particular journey we're going to take. So taking a few breaths into your body and noticing how your body is moving as you inhale and exhale. Just a few deep breaths, presencing yourself into the now. And I just want you to bring your awareness. You're going to travel with your awareness into your heart. And I want you to notice that it beats without you even asking it to. It just continues to beat for you. And you may even welcome your heart as a flower, as a rose, all of the petals beautifully folded over each other, perfectly organized for the rhythm of right to left, left to right, beating. And I'd like for you to bring your awareness down into your belly. And just thanking the organs as you gently go by, down to the floor of your pelvis. And I want you to notice that at the floor of your pelvis, you have energy that might look like a cord, or it might look like a root going down into the earth. It's there all the time, whether you are thinking about it or being aware of it or not. Just follow it for just a moment. Follow that energy down into the earth. And just notice how the earth welcomes you. And how the earth is saying, I see you. I'm so happy you're seeing me right now. I am always here supporting you. And you don't even have to ask me to do this. I love you, and I'm going to do this forever. I support you. And just take a deep breath, knowing that support is there for you. And while you're there, offer some gratitude, some appreciation to the earth. Let her know you see her. And all of her beauty and creativity and magnificence. and that her strength and vibration is what grows everything and everyone from this planet, on this planet, in this planet. She knows what she's doing. And as she receives your gratitude, she has a gift for you. And whether it's something that you can visualize or sense or just know, receive that from her now. And just welcome your awareness with that gift back up to the floor of your pelvis and into your heart. And knowing that this gift is here for you inside of your body, in your heart, always. And just beginning to look up from your heart space and looking through your throat, through the palate of your mouth, through your brain, out the top of your head, and notice that there's an energy that's rising out the top of your head. And it can be a field of light, of color, or a cord, whatever you visualize or sense is perfect. Where is it going? Curiously, you follow it. And maybe it goes beyond the earth to the sun, or beyond the sun to another sun or a star, far away. And when you find where that feels like home in the heavens for you, rest your awareness there for just a time in space. And notice how the universe is welcoming you and says, I see you. I support you from above. I welcome you always. And just extend some appreciation to this space, this loving, welcoming space. And let it know you see the love of it as well. And just allowing a moment of breath and exchange. And know that the universe has a gift for you too. And just receive that now. Whether it's something you can visualize or feel or simply know. Welcome this as you bring your awareness back down into your head. your throat, and your heart. And bringing these gifts together in your heart space from heaven and earth, from above and below, from the stars and Gaia. You are the miracle in between. A perfect blend, a supported combination, and just allow that expansion to grow in your heart space now, knowing that you are fully supported above yourself and below yourself. Recognize that the expansion from your heart can extend out around you. And just allow that space to grow. If you feel there's a color or a visual of that expansion beyond your fingertips, into the world around you, supporting you in your back and in your front and your sides. Your heart expands and opens, and your arms are relaxed and out of the way, allowing them to fly just a little bit as you inhale and exhale. And just feel the sensations around you, knowing that you are so supported and so connected to everything. And some might call this gravity. It's a friendly universe. It's a loving planet. And your joy, whether it's felt in your belly or your toes, or felt in your shoulders and your stature, or in the wings behind your back, your joy lives in gravity. When you're ready, you're welcome to presence yourself with your eyes open and smile. And knowing that all of this energy is here always. It is simply a matter of tuning into it with our awareness. We don't go to it, we don't make it happen. It just is. Always. Thank you very much for being here, for journeying with me. And until we meet again, blessings.